Welcome to Breaking Initiative. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts things. We're probably there. My name is Brett.
And I'm Rob. This is the show where we break down our own tips and tricks to help you get the most out of your tabletop games. We share some of our favorite tools from around the community, discuss our past experiences as well as new things currently happening in the hobby. And Brett's coming at you live from his studio over there. His very interesting background, yes. And me, I'm coming to you from this white void that's here to block your view from the rest of my messy house. Again, my name's Rob. Brett, what are we going to talk about today?
Rob, from my nice studio, I have a quick question. How is the void and how has it been?
Can confirm. This is only a, even though it's only a temporary arrangement, I'm getting a little used to it because I don't have to clean up my room or do anything that grown-ups are expected to do, and I can just play Dungeons and Dragons.
Perfect.
And not worry about anything else. How about you?
I'm doing great. All right, let's kick into it. Okay, today we are going to talk about something similar to the void, a different dimension, a different location. We're going to talk about
like that transition there.
Wild Beyond, yeah, I know, it's kind of Wild Beyond the Witchlight. We're going to kind of just not go into crazy amount of details. I've been doing a little bit of research. We looked into a little bit of the character races. We're going to talk vaguely about everything and what we think. And so I'm going to start.
Wait. You're not going to spoil anything, are you? You're not one of those people.
Spoiler alert. There will be no spoilers.
You ruined it.
Dang it.
I didn't want to know that going into this, man.
Oh, no, that's at second level. There's a place that says spoiler, there's no spoilers. That's an Easter egg.
You didn't put the timestamp in the video for me to see while we're recording it.
Sorry. No. Basically, listen, I've been watching some videos and I'm like, we got to do a video about this because I think this is so cool, diving into a whole new realm. And we always talk about the Feywild. I'm going to go like, we always like talk about Barovia because of Strahd, right? The Feywild is just so consistent and everywhere. You know, they say like a Furbolg, whenever he does his... he can disappear for like a round. What is it called? I can't remember what it's called. One of our friends have it. Can't remember what it's called. But like he actually goes into the Feywild for a few seconds and then he comes back out. That's how it's kind of explained how he disappears. So like it's everywhere. It's been around for a long time. I feel like Wild Beyond the Witchlight is finally like a more hands-on guide on how it's going to be. And so Rob, I would like to start in the past. Rob has been here for the longest time. I just sang.
You gotta be careful, man. Like earlier I wanted to sing A Whole New World, but we can't do that stuff.
We can't. If we get tagged, I'm gonna take it as a compliment.
I mean, somebody noticed us.
So, Rob, how did you play the Feywild kind of before you had a guidance? Like, what did you know about it before? And like, how did you play into it?
That's one of the interesting things about both this book that's coming out and how it's been handled in the past. In that, really, it is one of those things that everyone has talked about. So it was never always called the Feywild, right? I believe that term became either popular for what it is. It fell into popular use around 4th edition when they were trying to really rein in a lot of the cosmology. There was a plane of shadow, and now it's called the Shadowfell ever since then. And they write it into the plot for, you know, Toril and the Forgotten Realms and all that to explain why all these things constantly change. It's really just an excuse for the Dungeons and Dragons cosmology in the books to be simplified or expanded upon or changed because of new writers. But it has gone through a number of different phases. It has, if I remember correctly, I think the closest thing there was to it originally was, and I always have to, I keep forgetting to preface this. I don't want to insult anybody that maybe remembers things better than me. I was a dumb little kid when I started playing Dungeons & Dragons at 10 years old. So I remember the lore that my brother, who was also a slightly older dumb little kid, told me. Because he was my DM. And we just kind of winged it a lot, but we definitely followed the rules as best as our little, teenage brains could do. But it was just...
Preteen.
I was a preteen, he was a teen, and then I kind of teened into it. I don't think that's a verb.
Teen's a verb.
I don't think teen's a verb.
Yeah, you just did it. You just made it. It's real now. It's in the ether.
Yeah. So I just teened my way through my teens, and what we did was we there was the world of Fey. It was like that's where it was almost like the home plane of where the fairies and everything, where the elves came from. In fact, I wonder if this is all Greyhawk lore that kind of seeped into how it worked for some of the other worlds, because nobody really filled in all the corners yet back then. There was the TSR worlds, the company before Wizards of the Coast, and how they tried to handle it all with Gary Gygax. And we just kind of winged it. Our version of it was probably way different. It was just a plane in which all of these like wonderful natural kinds of things could occur. And a lot of other places, a lot of other things that have their own kind of lore that borrows a lot from Dungeons and Dragons. Almost every video game borrows from Dungeons and Dragons in some way if it's an RPG. But World of Warcraft, for instance, they had the Emerald Dream. That's probably one of the closest things outside of Dungeons and Dragons to the Feywild, or at least what it eventually became. Yeah. I wonder if it kind of was this feedback thing where they pulled back from that, where what it is it's just a sort of plane that is a mirror of the real world, but exaggerated, like almost fantasifies. It was more fanciful.
Nailed it.
I need to start making up. If you kind of have to make up words to describe the Feywild.
It's 2 words. It's 2 words you made up today, and now there's a wiki page.
Yeah, and I could put a hyphen between them and use them together somehow.
So I do have this thing that I have heard. So just so you know, my experience with the Feywild is pretty much as you just get from creating a character. Hey, he's from the Fey. Okay, it's more whimsical. That's pretty much as you get. That's all that I have. But it was really cool listening to these guys talk about it and put so much more emotion behind it. So one of the things that came up was like the realm reacts to the party. Like doesn't have to always be like what. Kind of how I interpreted that was like if people are happy, interpreted.
Just on a roll.
Just the words we do them well. How basically I have heard it being explained is for the most part the world reacts to them. If they're sad and angry, or if they're like angry, maybe it's like a dark red sunset is happening whenever the sun's going down, or I mean, the obvious thing is like if they're happy, like, oh, some good things are happening. Hey, oh man, I'm really happy. Like, you can just imagine, like, there are flowers that just start blooming around them if you want. A DM can do that. Oh no, this one character's sad. You notice that it's raining over there. Like rain starts coming down because clouds are forming. Like, so you can almost think like a child in a way. Like, you could just do almost whatever you want that goes along with emotions. As I'm running and I'm happy, the flowers are blooming around me and butterflies are flying. And guess what? That's all real. Like, that can all really be happening in the Feywild, which it's like whenever you're in a normal plane, that doesn't happen. It's like, okay, cool. You might think like, you're happy. That's cool. The field is still a field and it's still raining outside. But the Feywild, you can change the weather basically based off of your attitude. That's how it was explained. There's a circus in the very beginning part. It's obvious there's a circus. I'm not going into it anymore, but that plays into it. There's a lot of things with that plays into it with how the party reacts, and I just thought that was really cool. Honestly, I'm not spoiling anything from here, but all the videos have already been out that you can go and listen and watch. And only like one of them I went beyond the point where the guy was like, listen, if you're a player in this, you might not want to be here because I'm going to go through the book page by page. So I thought that was really cool. And also, it's the opposite of the Shadowfell. It's the opposite of that, and the idea of like, it's more gloomy. And both places have like evil and creepy, but just in their own way. You know, you can be happy in the Shadowfell and evil and like creepy and weird in the Feywild, like the way it was explained. And I was like, that's really cool. And there's ways that you can do that. You know, you have like Pan's Labyrinth and things like that that kind of can express that of like creepy and weird, but yet still whimsical. You know,
that's an excellent example for anybody who's seen Pan's Labyrinth, because it's that sort of very interesting way. Like, what I love the most about the Feywild is how difficult it is to define, especially even getting there is you can't say, oh yeah, no, you go to the end of this road, there's a forest, and you go into the forest until you see the stone column, you knock 3 times and walk in, and then you appear at the same road on the Feywild, and it's just it's all no, there could be like 2 trees bent over each other. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You kind of walk between a certain area, a sort of natural portal that's not obviously glowing, and you suddenly realize, wait, why are these mushrooms so big? You know, you're just walking around. Oh, hey, there's some like pixies flying around. Oh, maybe I'm in a pixie forest. You wouldn't even know you're in there until you maybe wandered in too far, tried to turn back, and maybe the road like covers itself up and you can't get back out the same way. Or next time you come back to show your friends the next day, you go through the same portal. Maybe it takes you, but it's to a different place. You know, nothing is it is in its original form a plane of chaos, of natural chaos, good chaos, perhaps evil chaos. It is but it's more neutral in in its balance of those things.
So that is one of the things that one of the videos that I saw, it was Chris Perkins, who was one of the people that did this. He said, this is from him, you can supposedly play through this whole campaign without getting into any combat. One of the other people I saw was like, okay, I see where that can happen, but I see possibly a lot of places you can get around things, but I don't see everywhere where that's going to happen. But the idea is exactly what you just said. It is neutral. Like, nobody's in love with you and nobody completely hates you. Like, it is basically off of it is up to the party on what they want to do. And then the whole realm can change around them based off of what they do.
Right. It's fascinating, and especially if you had a DM that's really on his feet, on his A game, and he's about your point, the point that was made that you were relaying. It wasn't your point. You stole that point. But,
right.
That you could get through this. Not to get too far off topic, I'm pretty sure you can get through if you got a creative enough DM and creative enough party, open DM and creative party. You can get through any of these campaigns. I bet you can get through.
You need permission. You need permission.
You need a DM that thinks it's interesting for you to get through without combat.
No, but the thing is, people get jonesy, man. It's like, we've talked about this all the time. It's like, whenever we're going through enough, like, role-playing, we're in the city, it's like, all right, guys, I'm getting kind of jonesy. I want to go fight something.
Yeah.
And then it's like, then the opposite happens of like, all right, man, we're in a dungeon. It is like for 8 months. And this is crazy. I kind of want to break, you know. I get kind of jonesy on the opposite way, where like, I don't want this much combat, you know. So if it was like, it goes through 1 through 8 levels. I wouldn't want that. I would not want the idea of like, oh, no, you did it again, guys. You got past it without any combat. They're not going to fight you. Like, I would hope that doesn't happen.
Right. I mean, but you could supplement combat with interesting dialogue or interesting characters and interesting happenings, you know, like you're about to start.
That sounds like a different video, Rob.
It does sound like a whole different video
of how to get around combat without.
It's fascinating, though. You're right.
Yes. I think it's going to play into... I think people are going to learn a lot from this campaign to then take it into other campaigns of, like, hopefully it starts a thing of, like, you know, hey, guys, we actually wound up never even fighting Strahd at the end, and we actually still wound up winning. Well, how the freak did that happen? You know, I don't even know the end of Strahd, by the way. I didn't look into the book. I'm just saying, like, he's like a big bad.
You know?
Huh?
Maybe it's another example of something I've never spoiled for myself. Maybe we don't defeat him at the end.
Maybe we don't.
You spoil
I
it
don't
in the
know.
comments, I will hunt you down.
Oh my gosh.
But also appreciate that you left a comment, so thank you ahead of time. But also
yes. I hate you. Take that. Yeah, so I think this is like a good warm-up campaign of like, hey guys, this is truly anything we want to do. This could be, you know, the Feywild, happy, sad, whatever. Everything forms around you, and you don't even have to fight. Hope then you could take and learn that this might be. Ooh, where do we actually put this, Rob? In like, you're a brand new player. You're a brand new group. There's one guy that goes, all right, guys, I'm going to be the DM. I don't know how to play. I'm going to read this book, watch a few videos, and then we'll play next week. Do they go to this campaign first, or do they still do a different campaign? Would we steer them away from doing this campaign as relative beginners?
Difficult. I like the idea of how it starts and how it seems to keep, like, it keeps this theme up of this sort of intrigue of what's going on at this fair. Like this, didn't spoil too much for myself, except that, yes, it's one of those classic sort of tropes I love. The fair with, like, maybe there's some sort of holiday or something and some games that everyone's playing, but something goes awry. Hell, I haven't seen much Critical Role, but I do know that's how the second campaign of Critical Role started.
Second campaign's
it's such an interesting
best
trope.
Visuals.
He knew what he was doing. He knew he was stealing from that trope, and it's a fun trope, and I love it. You know, you get your party in there, they're throwing balls at bottles or something, or jousting, or betting on jousting. There
was a few parts in Critical Role where there was some sort of fair and celebration. Matter of fact, I could think of 3. 2 of them with, like, games and fighting games, and like one of them actually being like a gladiator situation, and the very first one being like a full-on circus. But yeah,
right. And somehow this comes back to Warcraft lore, but then there's the Dark Moon Fair, which seems to more lean into this kind of stuff, where it's this highly magical sort of fairground kind of thing. I almost feel like it must be taking inspiration from that. But it's this sort of, like, upping it, that trope, this extra level that's exciting. Like, I know what a normal fairground would have if I go into a medieval fantasy village. I don't know what's going to happen when I go to the Feywild version of that. It's like I was saying before, it's like your normal world is already fantasy with magic. You're really like...
Well, I think... Yeah, like, they come here...
I think that's like the idea. It's like they visit.
They come to the normal realm,
entertain people.
But there is a way to get to the Yeah. I mean, I don't spoil it. There are the 2 ways that people go into the Feywild, but I'm not going to spoil it. And it's basically alley-ooped to you. And I think you would actually say this in your session 0.
Right. That makes sense.
You know what I mean? Because part of it is like character base. And another part of it is one specific character base, and so it's like, okay, that you got to kind of take that route. And so, not to go into railroading and sandboxing, it seems like it's a little sandboxy in the very beginning, but it seems like there's a lot of open playground, like people can play around and stuff. But then it's like, hey, it's like sandbox, how it starts. You got to kind of get there this way. And then it's back to roughly a sandbox again.
Right.
Which honestly is fine. You know, it's hard to get very cinematic scenes without it being kind of planned. But then also you need a balance of, like, the players have a choice. So, Rob, I think, what do you think about ending it here, my friend? And then we're going to talk about the 2 subclasses in our next video.
That subclasses. There was
Sorry, races, not
yeah,
subclasses. Races, not subclasses.
We'll talk about the
Yeah.
next
the two
the
races.
fairy race and the one I'm going to learn to pronounce by the next video.
Probably not.
Probably not.
All right.
Bye.
See you on the next one.
See you in the next one.